Hello, this is Larson. I am doing a little demonstration here of using these MoonTide markers for day trading the E-mini. This is the service that is sold from my website MoneyTide.com, and the live website with charts and a chat room is daytradingforecast.com. That website displays trade times based upon my MoonTide indicator. What I have done in NinjaTrader is I've produced a downloadable indicator that will draw vertical lines at the trade times. Now these trade times are the times when it's most optimal to find a market turn. They don't work every day, but in the vicinity of these trade times, if you use your other indicators, you will find a good or many good trade setups. Now the indicators that we use are 110-minute exponential moving average. Because this is a 3-minute bar chart, 110 minutes divided by 3 turns out to be 36. That's actually 108 minutes, but that's okay, close enough. And then a 7-minute one comes close to the 20-minute, a 7-bar, 3-minute bars comes close to being the 20-minute exponential moving average that are discussed in the trading section on how to trade the MoonTides at daytradingforecast.com. If you go to that website, daytradingforecast.com, on the home page you'll find public links, and under public links you'll find our trading methodology discussed in the trading the MoonTides page. But a quick summary is near the MoonTide time or the trade times, you look at these two indicators to see if you can find a trade setup. The basic signals are basically when the yellow crosses the blue line. The yellow is the 20-minute, the blue is the 110, and then I usually keep a longer average, which is a 400-minute exponential moving average. Where these averages diverge, like in this area right in here, that is a MACD divergence. So rather than using MACD, we look at the indicators directly. Now, if this had been a MoonTide time and we were close to, if it had been a trade time, we may have taken a trade here, but it was not forecast to be a good trade setup, although we could have made a few points here. Now, at this trade setup, we have a downgoing 110-minute exponential moving average and an upgoing 20. Now, I have the scale over here set to draw me grid lines, one per point, and the automatic scale has given me nice rectangular boxes here because the time is set about 30 minutes. I found that a square 1 point per 30 minutes is about 2 points per hour, is a good scale factor for your chart. If you want to control the scale factor precisely, go on the right side of the chart, right here, right click on it, and select Properties. And there you'll find that the right scale is right now in automatic. You can set it to fixed range, and then you can pick the scaling, and here I'm just going to round off these numbers. 46, and I might make this a little bit higher, 60. The reason I'm doing that is so far today we're hanging around above yesterday's low, and there's some chance that we might go up. So I'm going to apply this, and you'll see my chart scale change. So now I've got a good scale that I can control. I've got the MoonTide indicator. Looks like we're coming up here. If I look at this 410, it's probably going to be resistance. So even if this gives me a buy crossing, I may not get much in the way of going up. Now, in terms of pattern, we had an early run up and then a one. You just look at the 20-minute exponential moving average. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This might be a small down chaos clamshell. Well, if we're going to now have an up one, market closes over here about 1400 my time. So I really don't have, not much has happened in the morning. This trade time is still a little early. Unless we get a good run up, I may not buy it. But we are getting a good run here. If I do buy it, I can look back here at the 3-minute bars. I might put a sell point here. Let me change to the simulated account. Since I'm doing this as a demo, I don't want to be distracted by trading my real account. Okay, now I'm forming some nice green bars. I'm coming into where we might get a little bit of a rally. So even though I have this overhead resistance, I'm going to assume that maybe I might have a pattern showing up that is some kind of an up pattern. Now we're getting a good bar, good number of bars. This is probably going to cross right over here. Now, because of this resistance, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, this is going to break here. I'm going to see if I can't do a buy right in the region of these highs here. So I'm going to see if I can do a buy. And here I'm just right-clicking, point at the price, right-click. Now buy a limit at 51. Ask me if I want to place this order.
Order pending.
Okay. So there I've got an order pending. So it looks like I might be getting a buy. And one reason I like this possibility of going long here is that there's initial energy to go long, a possible downcast clamshell of about 1, 2, a little over 3 hours. 3 hours is 1/8 of a trading day that's harmonic to the 24 hours. I look at a lot of things, harmonics and things, but I especially like to look at the slope. I like to measure the slope by drawing lines and seeing how fast a move is. If I take the grid point near this one and I go up, this is over one grid, up 3, 4, 5, 6. This initial move went 6 points per half hour. That's 12 points per hour. That's about as fast as the E-mini really trades. But now if I copy this, copy, click off of it, right click, whoops. Now click off of it, right click, and then I can do a paste. give me another copy of that harmonic line, and I see that I'm getting a run here at possibly at 6 points per hour, or 6 points per half hour. Now this one went that fast and then it collapsed, so I'm a little bit cautious about that. If I just do a standard little line along the highs, I can see that I've broken the downtrend from the highs. So it looks like we're trying to change trend here, and we may end a little bit higher in the day, but it's not yet quite clear, so I don't want to risk my money. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the live recording here and give it about 30 minutes and resume this tutorial. Okay, now a few minutes have passed. I did get the crossing here that I suspected was there. I wasn't able to jump in on it quick enough, so now we've gotten above the 400. I moved this vertical line a little over to the left so I could see what was going on right here. I'm not able to get a good entry there. I'd rather miss a trade than get a bad entry price. On a day like today, a 2 or 3 point gain might be all there is. So there's 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to be patient here and wait. I've got a limit in. I've got another trade coming up over here in about an hour and a half. So if I can't get a good entry price, I might be able to pick up a trade over here. The point is, I don't want to be too anxious to trade. This was a nice steep pop. I'm now going to modify the slope of this line to just being a 1 by 1. I need to move this. One nice thing about NinjaTrader is once you set up a grid, when you draw a ray like this, the points will snap to the grid. So if you get close to the intersection right here, it'll snap, and that gives you a good 1 by 1. So 1 by 1 on this particular scale works pretty good. So if I put that off the low, it might give me a balance point here. This is not quite a 1 by 1 down. Let me modify this one to be a 1 by 1 down. So I'm going to move it up so I snap to a grid. That's a real 1 by 1 down. Okay, that's showing a balance point over here. This will act like a center of gravity, pulling prices back toward it. Okay, so I'm still sitting here with the buy limit, just biding my time. And to save a little bit of playback time here, I'm going to stop the recording for now and pick it up in a few more bars. Okay, we've added a few more bars here, but you can see that there's not a lot of action here. My buy limit has still not been hit, and we have the 20-minute, just about, or 21-minute technically, moving average curling over here. We've got a narrow range here, so it still looks like we're going up. 1, I'm looking for a 2, possibly a 3 move in the last hour of 7 moves in a chaos clamshell. Not really good pattern today. Yesterday was a very volatile day. Today is a shards of glass day, as one of my clients described it. So I'm going to stop the recording now and pick it up in about another 10 minutes. Okay, it's a few minutes later, and as you can see, this pullback got me filled at 1551.0. So I had it thrust up, I had the crossing signal, I missed a good entry, I tried to get one here on a little bit of a pullback. Now I need to look where to put my stop, and I'm going to put it right down here under the 1110. So I right click on it, put a sell stop, and confirm the order.
Order pending.
Okay, now, because we might not get much of a move today, I'm going to look, maybe we might make it up to these highs up here. So I'm going to put a sell limit up here.
Order pending.
At 1555. So there, I've used the MoonTide. It turned within about 10 minutes of it. We did get some energy on that MoonTide. I tried to find a good entry. I was patient and waited for the pullback. I have controlled my risk, and that's the most important thing. If this is a good signal here, we shouldn't recross this 1110. Here is the 400, and I talk about these things in minutes. Don't be confused by that. I always think in terms of minutes, no matter what my number of bars are, because I do all my work in natural time units. Bars are not a natural time unit. So I've made a cautious entry on this. I have a controlled risk here. So now what I need to do is wait and see how the trade develops. One of two things will happen. The stop will be hit, or it'll run up, and somewhere up in here I may get a profit. Now, since this was a good trade time, it came a little bit early. This one might here come a little bit early, so I might be looking for a high in this region here. Okay, now I'm going to take another break and let things develop before I continue the recording. Okay, we're back a few minutes later now. Here I picked up 1.5 points. I can see that I am getting a good move here, so I am going to move my price target. Here's my entry: 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go for 5 points on this trade. So I'm going to move my sell limit up here to 56. Okay, so here was my MoonTide. Here was my crossing. I waited patiently, tried to get a good entry, and I got an entry above the exponential moving average. So now I got a bit more motion here, so I now have a 1.5. So now that I've moved above this, I can press my stop a little bit. I still won't press it up to break even, but I'll move it right up here to the blue exponential moving average. Okay, if I look at the range here, looking not at the exact range, but just counting points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, almost a 6-point range. Probably to the ticket's a 6-point range, and a 1, 2-point pullback. So that's a pretty good ratio of thrust to pullback. So right now, let me see what angle we're running at here. I'm going to delete this one because it's just confusing me. I'm easily confused. I don't like to be confused when I trade, but it happens all the time. Okay, this was the 1 by 1. So I'm going to see what this actually is here. Do it there, and I'm going to move it over to a grid and see what if it's on a harmonic scale. Oh, this is over 1 and up 2, so that is a 1 by 2. So I've set it to exactly a 1 by 2, and now I can pick it up and put it back under this low, and now I've got a line coming up here. This is a 1 by 2, so I know I've got pretty good support along this Gann line. So I'm going to move my stop up now to break even. So now, except for commissions, I'm in a risk-free trade. That is, excuse me, of course, the goal of trading is to trade safely. The MoonTides gave us a good time area. Indicators helped us get a good price motion, but we still have to protect our assets, because it's not just this trade, it's tomorrow's trades, this next trade, trade after trade, that you want to be very careful and very cautious and learn to trade safely. Okay, I'm going to pause this now and pick it up in a few minutes. Okay, a few more bars have materialized. We see that this was a nice long wick. I don't really read much into candlesticks except their colors and their wicks. This was a nice long wick, which meant that the selling pressure here got pushed back up by buying pressure. So now that I've got a good wick here, I can actually move my stop up right below that wick by 1 tick, right there. So now I've locked in a little bit of profit. I have a target up here to lock in more, and we shall see how this goes. I'm just going to let it run here a minute and shut up. Okay, we're progressing quite nicely here. A few more bars have formed. And I'm now going to raise my stop to just under the yellow exponential moving average. That's technically 21 minutes. Oh, it just moved up at the end of the bar. So I'm going to push my stop up a little bit higher. Okay, now I see a red bar trying to form here. A little bit of resistance to the move right in here. So I'm going to raise this stop a little bit right up to my moving average. And now you see I've locked in 1.75, trying for 5, because this kind of a day when the market's been going every which way, if we get a 1, 2, 3, this could still be part of a correction kind of pattern. So I'm not optimistic about us going back up and making new highs for the year. We had a pretty drastic sell-off yesterday, and now I think we're just trying to, big boys are trying to hold it up, get a little bit of rally going so that they can trade out some paper. So that barking you hear in the background is my overactive Cocker Spaniel. Actually, we have a pair of them. So I apologize for the noise in the background. I can't do much about it here unless I want to move my trading office out of my home, which I don't want to do. That's Tank and Scout entertaining us. Okay, a little bit of worry here. This bar stayed red. This could be the start of a pullback. Pullback might run about this far. So let me do a quick little trick here. Let me draw a line that represents this last pullback. Draw it there, pull back up to there. Okay, it suggests possible pullback into the next MoonTide here, or trade time, MoonTide trade time. I'm a little worried. The close is right over here, so let me mark the close with a vertical line. It'll be at 4:15 close here, so actually that's a little close, but okay, there's about the 4:15 close. So I'm getting boxed into a corner here. I probably, since I got a good trade going here, last hour trading time, I probably don't want to take a trade up here. So even though the MoonTides say there might be a trade there, you have to use some judgment. Is this a good setup? This was a good setup. one this late in the day, if you got a good first trade, you might want to consider waiting for another day. Okay, I'm going to save a little recording time here and pause it for a while. Okay, I'm back commenting. Not much has happened since I turned off the recording. A little red bar, a little green bar, a little bit of indecision here. You have to kind of listen to the market. Here the market in the morning was saying, I'm going to rally. And then it said, oh my God, I just got hit. And then it muttered about it, and the bulls and the bears had a good argument here. Yesterday, and this is to be expected, yesterday was a big down day. Bulls try to rally it, bears try to sell it off. We wind up in a draw here, holding above yesterday's low, although we made some minor pokes at it. Now we're trying to rally again. So basically, the market's really acting like a scared puppy. Okay, this candlestick here has formed a wick right at 53. My stop is one tick below that. Let's see if that holds here. I'm going to pause the recording for a few minutes.
Connection lost.
I seem to have lost my data connection here. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on. Okay, I got my connection back, and I did manage to get stopped out right for plus 1.75. So that's trading one contract. That's just under $100, which is the price for a MoonTides subscription. So not quite 2 points. You only have to make 2 points to pay for a MoonTides subscription each month. So if you can do it on one trade, it's not a bad deal. So maybe I pushed this stop a little too fast, maybe not. My point is that on a day like today, I want to make sure that I had a gain and not a loss. Okay. Now this suggests that maybe I just wait and see what happens after the next MoonTide. And let me see if I can do a little more analysis. if I do a ray, if I draw, okay, this is the low, this is the high before the low, and if I go up here, I can see I'm getting some kind of a rising wedge pattern in here. So if I do about a, looks like maybe a 3 over and 2 up line, that's a common harmonic, and these two highs were hit by that, so now it says I'm coming into a rising wedge pattern. So it was not a bad strategy to push that stop here, because it looks like we may run out of gas. Okay, that's demonstrating one MoonTide trade and some of the techniques I use with NinjaTrader to help me. I'm going to pause the recorder, and I'll come back after this next trade time, probably in about 10 minutes, and see if there's a second chance here. It may be that we're done for the day. Okay, we are now just past the second trade time, and this pullback continued, coming down in here. I'm going to get rid of this line because we've obviously broken it. Now this 1 by 1 coming up here still looks like we could have some support. If I move it and line it up with the speed of the 1110 blue line, or actually that's the 36 bar on a 3-minute, you see that exponential moving average is moving at about that rate. So just looking at that rate, 1, 2, maybe by the close there might be a 2 or 3 point range if we continued up along this trend line. Does not look like a real good setup for a trade at this time. So I will pause the recorder again. I'll come back in about 10 minutes here to see if there is a trade. Otherwise, I'm going to terminate this recording and call it just a good demo. Okay, we've passed the second trade time there. The 1110 and the 400 have gone flat. We still have a bit of upward momentum, but we've had highs along in this region here, so there's going to be selling pressure over in here. So I'm going to make a judgment call here and not try to take any trade on this second one, especially since this is a demo of how to use the MoonTides. Not every MoonTide is going to give you a good trade, so it's okay to pass. You must use your other tools to help you select which trades, and you must use aggressive stop management to make certain that you make more profits than gains. Occasionally, if you work with this, you're going to catch a few really nice gains. 9 points is our target, and we got one of those yesterday, and then a 4 and a 5 point. Today, a plus 1.75 on one trade that was done conservatively is just fine with me. So there are ways to day trade the the E-mini, but one must realize you are trading with the best minds in the world, and you do need a competitive edge. The NinjaTrader program gives you a good trading platform. It has a lot of nice tools, and with the addition of the MoonTide indicator to it, you've got a better than average chance of succeeding at day trading the E-mini. Thank you for your attention, and I'm now going to close out this recording.